Heyo, it's Arlo, and today I'm going to be talking about a book that I read a couple months ago. It's Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and my relationship with Ali Hazelwood is that every single last one of her books, I've read them, and every single last one of her books that I've read, I did not like. But for some reason, every single time that she publishes a book, I read it. So I think this might be the last time I'm ever gonna read it. I'm lying. I'm probably gonna pick up another book of hers because you can get through them, they're readable. But I don't like them. Anyway, Deep End is about a diver named Vandy Scarlett. Scarlett is her first name. Vandy is her nickname of her last name. Scarlett Vandermeer. Everybody else calls her Vandy, which the main lead, male lead, whatever you call him, the love interest, he calls her Scarlett because obviously he has to be different. It's supposed to be like a forbidden type relationship going on here, but to me the whole thing seems silly because I'm like, y'all making it more difficult than it has to be. Every time that I see this forbidden relationship in Ali Hazelwood's stories, I'm like, is it really that? Is it really, does it, come on now. You're doing too much. I'm gonna switch between Scarlett and Vandy because whatever. But basically, Scarlett ends up being friends with this girl on her team named Penelope, who she calls Pen. Pen and Scarlett weren't very close, but recently they started getting close because um, Pen decided to kind of confide in her about her relationship with. Well, I guess it was probably like more of a mistakenly confide in her because she was in a high emotional state. And Vanny is like, well, I do a lot of coily stuff. So I can probably give my 2 cents, especially because the nature of your relationship is just like the nature of my relationship with my ex, who we weren't really on the same page. Like we had different interests, and I guess it wasn't really doing anything for him, um, or them in general. I think in their relationship, Vandy was more open to compromising and just I guess being more pliable and malleable to keep the relationship But her boyfriend inevitably ended up breaking up with her. So she's like, I'm kind of in the same boat, so you can confide in me. So they end up becoming closer because of that. An important thing to know about Vandy is that she is, of course, on the diving and swimming team. I'm pretty sure at Stanford. Again, I'm not gonna correct myself, when I probably should. She and Penn is on the diving team, and Lucas is on the swimming team. He's a captain. Penn is the captain of the diving team. Like in all Ali Hazelwood books, Lucas is a door of a man, very big and strong, and a wall, most definitely a wall. I feel like she describes all of them like a wall, and that just is kind of funny to me. But it reminds me of that scene in Jujutsu Kaisen where some dude kicked Nanami and he pictured like I think a concrete wall or something like that. That reminds me of that, and it's just so funny. Obviously, Lucas, he commands the room. Lucas is the love interest in this book. This review basically is gonna have a ton of spoilers, but because I really have a hard time going like chapter by chapter of things, a lot of stuff is not gonna be here, and I'm gonna talk about Pen and her therapy. But where the story truly begins is when they're at a party and Scarlett is, talking with Penn or something like that, and then Lucas comes over because they've just broken up. But like I guess Lucas and Penn has been they've known each other since I think high school. I could be wrong. And am I gonna double check myself? No. They've known each other since high school and they've been together since like high school. Of course they're gonna break up, but they're not gonna not have any sort of relationship with each other. They're still gonna be friends. Since the basis of their breakup is basically their sexual incompatibility on the swings, and like I'm pretty sure the backyard of this house party, Penn is like, you know what, you guys should do some canoodling, to her just most recent ex, today, tonight, whenever they broke up. I don't know how long it was, but it was a short amount of time between then and her just recent friend, pretty much just recent. I don't know why she would do that, but she was like, y'all should do something. Y'all into the same stuff. Uh, it was awkward. Vandy and Lucas was like, girl, this is inappropriate. Lucas was like, let's go home. What are you doing? Please. Now, when she walks into her therapist's room by the name of, I'm pretty sure, Sam, I think she describes it as like nothing on the wall, just white with some diplomas on the wall, which I love. I love seeing diplomas and stuff like that. But I'm like, dang, like, what a prison of a therapist room. And I'm sorry, I understand if you're a moving therapist, you don't really have time to like decorate where your office. She's a therapist at a university. The least you can do is have something in it, like a plant. She only got a bookshelf. You telling me she don't have a bookshelf in there? Well, I guess she probably does. She could. And then she also has nothing but a deadpan interrogator personality, which I'm like, dang, she ain't got no personality. She just there stone faced and interrogating you. She's interrogating you. If you want a therapist that interrogates you, I think that's all fine and dandy. I really do. Me, I cannot handle it because this is in chapter 6. She says, no, this is chapter 7. Oh my gosh. So, chapter 7, for every session, there are a lot of silences between Sam and me because she asks hard questions that I cannot answer and doesn't move on until she has received some kind of reply. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, dang, why is she doing that to you? I'm so sorry, but if I'm having a hard time and you're pushing me to say something that I'm having a hard time saying, it's like, freak, I don't want to be here. I'm not coming back to your office ever. I'm getting a new therapist. And she says, I guess it's how therapy works. I mean, it could be if you want it to be. If that's what works for you, then I guess so, you know? But I guess I do want to also talk about the first time that she had ever went to her office, because I think that was really awkward. This is literally chapter 1. Diplomas outnumber personal photos 4-0. So she doesn't have personal photos. This is, by the way, this is her first time ever meeting this lady, right? And she says, lots of attention all on me, all at once. I squirm in the chair, feeling the ache that always clings to my muscles. Her presence is not particularly calming, but I'm here to be fixed, not soothed. By the way, excuse any background noise because I'm not changing it. I'm here to be fixed, not soothed? I don't know, man. I just feel like therapy in this book really did not have to be here. It just added extra chapters for no reason. Her therapist did not give her any tools to deal with, because not only has she had like this injury during her sports career because of a series of unfortunate events where her dad, who was not supposed to be contacting her, called her. He wasn't supposed to, legally. And her boyfriend broke up with her before she had her big freaking event, you know? And someone stole her lucky chamois. So that series of unfortunate events led her to end up having this injury where now she's on the team, you know, she's trying to recover and do an inward dive, I'm pretty sure it is, but she's having a hard time. She's having a block. She cannot for the life of her do something that she feels is so simple, is one of the simplest things that she could ever do, but she cannot do it. Although therapy is in this book, and I have a couple of annoyances with it did not have to be here, more especially because Lucas comes into her life and fixes everything. She really did not want to talk to her therapist. She did not want to go to therapy. I feel like a lot of the time in this book, Vandy just did not try. She didn't try. And if she did, she didn't do it good enough. That sounds terrible, but she was getting on my nerves. I'm so sorry. Her trouble with doing dives, her anxiety and inability to kind of function good or feel like she's functioning well in groups of men or just around men in general, valid because of the relationship that she has with her father, which is not one because of his actions, I guess, when they used to like live together, her and her mom, her stepmom. Basically, Lucas is pretty much like her clutch in the social settings that she is uncomfortable with, which is around a bunch of dudes, especially, you know, around a bunch of athletes, male athletes, who tend to be big and loud. there's an issue with nuance here. Like, we love someone to help someone be supportive in situations that they're having a hard time in. But I fear that we do not see any really situation where Scarlett is in a potentially triggering situation and she does not help herself. Ignore any English changes because they probably happened. My biggest gripe with this book is I feel like it is a blueprint for codependency. Okay, Vandy has a therapist, right? But it isn't needed, right? Because like they say, she can be broken apart and Lucas can fix her, put the pieces back together. Perfectly fine. Like, what the freak? Why are we doing this? Especially when Vandy is having a very difficult time. Even her German class is making her struggle. She feels like she's not as great as she used to be. You know, she was always on her P's and Q's. She was the best at athletics. She was the best at academics. She can handle it all. Unfortunately, college is like, what's up? Like, you sure you the best? But I feel like in such a trying time for this person to walk into her life and they get so attached to each other, and for them to be like, bro, don't even worry about it, I got your back at any moment, especially the hard ones where you feel like, well, you don't know what to do, you cannot do it, but you can definitely rely on me to actually pave the way for you. The line is so blurred here. It's confusing. It seems dangerous. Like, I get danger when I'm reading them in their relationship, because therapy does nothing for her, and it seems like she doesn't really do anything for herself, and Lucas does everything. He walks into her life and even fixes her freaking problem, her block in sports, and all she does is go to her therapist's office and like explains to her basically what she learned from Lucas, which we would love a figure to help someone understand themselves. But this is crazy. Like, this is dramatic. The funny thing that I found that happened was Lucas finds out that she has trouble around men because he watches her, I'm guessing. He just knows her. So he points it out. They're in a cafeteria, and Scarlett and Lucas is working on some research thingy because they ended up working under the same professor because they both are doing medical stuff, which is very vague to say. Anyway, the swimming team comes around, swimming team male. I'm pretty sure they're in the dining hall, something like that. And Vandy is like, oh shoot, these men, no. She doesn't want to be in this situation. Lucas ends up telling them to leave. Come on, we've been dismissed. See you at home, sweetie. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but when they call him sweetie, that gets on my nerves because he's from Sweden, so they make it such a big part. I mean, okay, he's from Sweden. Like, mention it once, twice, 3 times even. Throughout the whole book, they're like, oh, haha, you're from Sweden. Da, 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 da. Look, if you know people from different places, right, you might say something about it once, twice, 3 times. It might come up because culture shock. I'm like, oh, y'all don't do that? Or I live in Florida, right? Say I'm thinking like, oh, shoot, freaking, it's cold outside. And I think about some of my friends, and I'm like, it's probably not cold outside to you, huh? They're like, no, shoot, this is summer for me or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But every time you see this dude, you just have to think he's from Sweden. Come on now. Anyway, the people leave. I swallow a sigh of relief. So you and Kyle live together? I ask into my food. When Lucas doesn't reply, I glance up. He sits back, his plate forgotten, studying me. The quiet weight of his gaze is familiar. So is the curve that sets in his mouth. He's observing something, coming to conclusions. My belly feels tight and warm. I thought it was just me. He says, but it's men in general, isn't it? What? We make you nervous. That's how I picture it. My fork hits my plate with a clink, swallowed by the background of chatter. How did you? Earlier in the hallway, you kept putting boundaries between you and Zach. Me mostly. Then your face, with Kyle and Hunter. It's not hard to guess if one cares to pay enough attention. Ugh. I mean, okay, but like, is this how you go about it? I don't know, sure. Clumsy, but whatever. I just thought that was funny. And it just seemed like, dang, she just came out of this stressing situation. You're like, you scared of men. Whatever. And I just feel like, oh yeah, so he seems safe. Which is, I don't know. My whole thing is that therapy isn't needed in this book. Because she has Lucas. And Lucas is able to psychoanalyze her and make her life so much easier just by not even trying. I don't remember many things about like her stuff with the therapist. Like anything that I wrote down in my notes is basically about her and Lucas, because I feel like that makes you see how irrelevant the therapist is. I remember her just like not wanting to be there, about her therapist asking her questions and she lying and lying and lying and lying and being like, this is hard, I don't think this is helping. Well, because you're lying. So when tensions are rising and she comes to breaking down because she's having a hard time and everything's, I guess, piling up on her. She's never said in specific what exact, like the unfortunate events that led up to her injury. So she tells Lucas like this, that, and next thing happened. My freaking dad called. He's not supposed to call me. He's not supposed to talk to me. That's illegal. And I don't like it. I don't want to talk to him. My boyfriend breaks up with me. He breaks up with me right before I have to go. And I lost my freaking lucky chamois, which I'm pretty sure Lucas stole. It's not said, and they don't go over that. But I'm thinking the reason why they didn't go over that kind of stuff is because they probably want to make an add-on where Lucas has his little point of view. Because I'm pretty sure he's been looking at her since before they even met, because he knows her name, he knows what classes they had taken together when she forgot, stuff like that. Basically, this dude was pining on her since before, and they do speak about it a little bit. Penn and him talked about some things that had to do with other people in their relationship, intimacy type stuff. So they're talking. What happened today? Just, I rubbed the heel of my palm against my eye. My brain won't do that stupid dive. And the MCAT email, I can't open it. And my high school coach, his wife, is an alumna. And of course, this is the year she decides to show up. And I miss my stupid dog. I'm being barely coherent. Lucas, however, nods like I'm painting a full polychrome picture for him and asks, do you have a mental block? I hate that word. I hate how accurate and solid and massive it sounds. It's not like it's news. You never told me. Should I have disclosed it on the list? An asterisk between the tiny O. Between the TT, getting it on, and the STI part of the form? Why would you need to know anyway? Do you make a point of not associating with athletes who aren't in the 99th percentile for their discipline? I went, rubbing a hand down my face. I'm sorry, Lucas. I'm not sure what's wrong with me. Actually, I look up with a sad smile. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm just a total B-word. Is it all dives or just the one you mentioned, N-word? I don't want to talk about it. Too bad, because I want to know. I swallow a groan. Maybe you could ask Penn? She'll explain. Let me tell you how annoying Dimensions of Penn in this book have been. Especially because, as you can see, bro, Vandy doesn't want to talk about anything. She wants everybody to work. Okay, you don't want to tell you don't want to tell him this. I think that's completely fine. But no matter what, she doesn't want to do anything by herself. Ask Penn, ask Lucas, this, that, and the next thing. Ask anybody but me. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be here. Why would I want to find out what's in your head from Penn? Thank you. He's baffled. And I have no answer for him. Has it been since your injury? I nod. The dive you were doing when you got injured, was it? I nod. No inward since then? I shake my head. He must be satisfied with the information he gathered because he exhales sharply and sinks further into the door, as if suddenly burdened with a heavy weight. His head tips back, eyes toward the ceiling, and stays like that for a long while before his gaze settles back on me. I wait for him to tell me what I've heard a million times already. It'll get better. It's not your fault. There are things you can do to fix it. Don't give up. I knew someone whose block just poof, disappeared. At least you're physically healthy. They're there. He doesn't, though. What Lucas blank Blomqvist says to me, I don't want to say curse words. I'm so sorry. Curse him to hell is, I'm sorry, Scarlett. It's unprecedented, destabilizing. In the past year of self-loathing, training, practicing, trying, failing, trying again, visualizing, exercising, catastrophizing, not catastrophizing, resenting, fearing, pretending, demanding, in the past year, being sorry is just simply something that I never allowed myself. It just never occurred to me. You're telling me, and getting this injury that could have broken her entire career. No one ever said, oh my gosh, Scarlett, I'm so sorry. No one has ever said that to her. Like never. I find that hard to believe. But in reading this book, I promise you, there is so many times that I've had to suspend my disbelief, and this one was one of the hardest. No one has ever said, "Oh my gosh, Scarlett, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Oh my gosh, Scarlett, I'm so sorry. I'm so I wish." No one has ever said that. Anyway, after this whole thing, after he said sorry, literally after he said sorry, she's cured now. I'm pretty sure they were up in the AM talking, right? So I'm pretty sure it wasn't even 12 hours later. They go to the gym and she dives and she does it. Why are we here? Okay, it says, but for the first time in what feels like a century, with Lucas standing in front of me, with the water 10 meters underneath and the cold biting into my skin, diving seems fun again. And lifting my arms, bending my knees, taking off just high enough to manage a pike. It just works. Second nature, like it used to be, and I'm almost sure it's a bit of a blur, but I think, I may be wrong, I punch out of the bitter chill of the water to meet the bitter chill of the night air, fluttering my legs to keep afloat. "Lucas!" I scream, sputtering, dragging locks of untied hair out of my eyes, fixing the brow riding half off my titties. I tilt my head up, and he's already there, peeping from the edge of the platform. When I entered the water, was I facing the tower? He pressed his lips together. "Scarlett," he says. Hold on, I'm so sorry. "Scarlett," he says. In that tone that's final, that makes me feel like he's hearing me, and he's got me, and he's there. That tone that makes me go silent. I learned what an inward dive is after the first time you mentioned them to me, and I know one when I see it. I blink up at him. My eyelashes clumped with water and chlorine and something else. "You mean?" "I mean," he smiles, lopsided. "You did it." I'm pretty sure this was a couple hours, like not even 12 hours. They went to sleep, they woke up, they did this. I'm pretty sure, like right after that crying conversation happened. I don't think it's bad that someone was there to support her when she was in her trying times, but girl, you go to therapy for what? Your boyfriend to fix everything? This dude said, "I'm sorry," and you're fine now. Other than that, the other stuff that was going on in this book basically was that the reason why it was forbidden and they couldn't tell anyone that they were dating was because Lucas has always been a kind of, when people see Penn with Lucas, dudes leave Penn alone. And because I guess the freaking whole team is nosy or something like that. But I was like, y'all could have just not said anything, like, you know, like y'all didn't. But then y'all not gonna say y'all broke up, and now it's gonna look like Lucas was cheating on Penn with her friend. That's kind of crazy, to do that. One of the things that really frustrated me was in the way beginning when Penn and Scarlett was talking. This is before Lucas and Penn broke up. In the beginning, Allie basically wanted to establish, I want this to give 50 Shades, like 50 Shades of Grey. Just because it is, did I attempt to watch the 50 Shades of Grey movie? Yes, because I was not about to whip out a book. I got only like up to an hour because I just could not, especially with Anastasia, however she say her name, because of her voice. I felt like, can we have a little bit more tone? Everybody else in here has a personality and you just don't. Blank slate. Allie wanted to establish that this is going to be like 50 Shades or whatever in some capacity, at least with the canoodling, with the coils, because, you know, whatever, kinks and coils and stuff like that. I wouldn't say this is like 50 Shades whatsoever, especially because the power dynamic in 50 Shades is the completely different from the power dynamic in Deep End. I think that what she was kind of going there is just to be like, oh, you know, they're going to be doing some salacious things. Did I see any really salacious things happening in 50 Shades? No. Frankly, I was bored. And in all honesty, what's his name? Christian? Christian Grey. Bro was just leading this girl on, like telling her, oh yeah, Anastasia, you're special. No one's ever met my mom. And then also telling her, yeah, this is not a romantic relationship. We made a deal, and the deal is we touch each other, and that's it. I didn't like that. I didn't like that movie because this man is purposefully telling her that she's special so that she can stick around, while knowing that she does not want to just be touching on him and having him touching on her. She wanted it to be romantic. You can say that maybe she should have left it alone, but he was trying to make her feel special. Since Deep End referenced it, I was thinking, let me just see, because I was never really interested. After the beginning, like the first couple of chapters, 50 Shades weren't mentioned again. I think that what Ali tends to do is talk about feminism, is mention feminism, especially when they're talking about the coily stuff that's going on in here. Do I have this affinity or whatever, these interests in these sexual activities because I have a poor relationship with my dad? And does Lucas feel the same way because his mom died? Something like that, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think he had a terrible relationship with his mom. I mean, I'm pretty sure that can be an interesting conversation and has been something that academics have been talking about. Freud comes into every conversation ever, and I wish he would stay out of it. But hello, we're talking about sex stuff. I think actually my favorite person in this book was Lucas's brother. I thought he was fun. One of his brothers made it, and I forgot who it was, and I'm not gonna look. I understand this is fiction, but there was too many lapses in this story that could also make me, I guess, go a little bit deeper into who Lucas is and why he feels the way that he feels and why he wants to treat Scarlett this way. But he really is not supposed to have any issues except that he doesn't really want to give himself the things that he wants. And we don't really go into this. To know that he wants something or feels that he needs something, he tries to like deny it. And this dude has this little quirk about him, which is not a quirk. I feel like we could go into dive deeper in it, right? Jan, I guess is his brother, right? Well, I'm sure you already know he's good at denying himself. The more he wants something, the less he'll let himself have it. My curiosity must come through because he continues. Like when he was 12, he slept on the wooden floor for 3 months. I glance at Lucas, who's drinking his coffee with a put-upon air. Why? No reason whatsoever. Jen throws a hand up. He'd gotten a new bed and it was really comfortable and he liked sleeping in it. And he needed to prove himself that he could do without it. When he was 11, only cold showers for a whole year. Lucas sighs. Jan, could you tone it down with the whole grandma pulling out photo album bit? I doubt Scarlett cares. Oh, Scarlett cares, I counter. And the conflict, they ended up having conflict because obviously in romance, they ended up having to like break up. And the whole reason why was because he wanted to feel like he could do without her. Which is, self-sabotage at its finest. They could have gone into that, but they didn't. I feel like their dynamic would have been interesting. I'm pretty sure the story is meant to be light, but if you wanted to explore that dynamic between the two characters, I felt like it would have made the story better. Like, they obviously have issues and they might be going about it the wrong way. This story actually talks about dynamics like that a lot, like the dynamic between Scarlett and her dad. I don't really know what that's like, but obviously it has interfered with her dynamics socially regarding men, which can be said for so many people, and how the relationship between her and her dad interfered or changed the dynamic between her and her stepmom, who she loves, who she adores. Also between freaking Lucas and Penn. They've had a relationship for when they was still in high school. Pretty sure they were like 15, 16 when they first like met each other and when they really started being basically emotional support in their respective lives. And how now Penn thinks she knows everything about Lucas and Lucas is different. He's grown up. I felt exploring what those relationships really mean and how they affect people's lives could have been really interesting, but obviously this is not that type of story. Still, like, I feel like they can still be the same story, like still delving in these topics that Ali Hazelwood does dive in, but not enough. It feels like she tips toes. You mentioned feminism, but first of all, this book is young man saves young woman. If you actually wanted to go into it, go into it. Why are you being shy? If it's gonna be like that, then don't mention feminism anyway, and it'll still just be the same story. It really would. Just because you mention it doesn't change anything. It just means throwing sprinkles on the cake. You really don't need them. Do they look pretty? Yes, but I don't really think they actually do anything. Whatever analogy or metaphor. Pushing stuff under the rug, putting on top, like it looks nice, but you didn't really do anything. Okay, maybe that. Okay, but I just think I want to talk about some general pet peeves in here. I talked about how I felt like Vandy wasn't trying enough. And one example is that in German, I felt like she wasn't trying enough. She's like, I'm a student athlete, bro. I have a lot going on. I have this, that, and next thing, you know, she's also, I think, a pre-med student. So she has a lot going on. I give her that. Oh, yeah, sometimes, you know, the tutoring won't align. She's like, you know, there's not much I can do. So I'm like, okay, you look and saw what, like, tutoring they had available at your school. One thing you didn't do is contact your professor? Okay. Well, maybe try that. Try to do that. She didn't. Okay. Her professor reached out to her. Okay. But if you need a little help in German and you are like, nothing aligns with my schedule, I don't know what to do, I'm not getting great grades, I feel like a failure. Yo, mom, She makes money. She's a surgeon. I forgot what kind of surgeon. I don't think it was orthopedic. Could be wrong. So we're gonna scratch that. And I'm not gonna check. You're telling me that you couldn't hire a tutor? You could have hired a tutor. You really could have. That's how I feel. But anyway, her professor ends up reaching out to her, and I forgot how and why, but suddenly she starts to do better. Honestly, suddenly everything starts to get better. Like she did nothing. The most was that Lucas did something, and then now everything starts falling into line. Even after the whole conversation with Lucas and her finally being able to do the dive, she goes to her therapist and she tells her therapist, I'm afraid of the unpredictability of existing. I'm afraid of not being able to control the direction of my life. I'm afraid that no matter how much I plan, I won't be able to avoid hurtful and sad things. Mostly, I'm afraid of attempting something and not being perfect at it. Sam nods, smiles. And I realized that she knew this all along. So you realize something about yourself. You had an epiphany. And yet she still gives you no tools. Like nothing. When you're feeling like, oh, I need everything to be perfect. She like, nothing is said. Nothing is said about what to do about this. Like nothing. Just suddenly everything's fine. Suddenly everything's fine and dandy and okay. Therapists didn't need to be there. And apparently none of this mattered anyway, because eventually Vandy was just gonna was gonna end up getting better for her. Also, you know what? One of my pet peeves, because I feel like I just went through the whole my whole gist of making this in the first place. But one of the things that annoyed me was that in the entire relationship between Vandy and Lucas, Penn was always on Vandy's mind. Oh my gosh, what is Penn gonna think? What is Penn gonna think? What is Penn gonna think? Girl, if you really feel guilty, you would stop. You would really just stop this relationship, being like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to end relationship with my friend, who honestly I haven't had any friends. She's my only friend. You know, if you really cared about how Penn felt and you really wanted to continue this relationship with Lucas, you would tell Penn. You would be afraid and still tell her. Or in the beginning, you could have said, okay, so this is only going to be a sexual thing between me and Lucas. You would say, so if someone catches feelings, how would you feel about that? Because there's always a possibility, right? Or if you think about her all the time, right? She's not in your relationship. Y'all literally, you and Lucas have y'all own relationship. Penn is not in there. She has nothing to do with it. And if you feel like she does that much, you would probably ask her, or you would just stop. And if you will not stop, stop complaining. Stop thinking about her. I do not want to hear you think about Penn anymore. She isn't in your relationship. If it's that big of a deal, I was annoyed. That annoyed me. I didn't like this book. I feel like I didn't really tell you much, but I feel like I told you enough. And this is how I'm feeling right now. I didn't like it. It could have been better, you know? What I felt like could have made it better. I don't freaking know. I literally don't know. And I don't care, because it could have been better, but it wasn't. The premise was interesting, you know? She's having a hard time. She enters this relationship with someone. This is just for us people who want to delve into this fictional idea that many and plenty people in their lives deal with, which is that I want someone to come into my life. I want them to be fine. I want us to be sexually compatible. And I want them to fix all of my problems. I want them to make me feel like I'm the most special person in the world and I won't have any issues in my life ever again. And that is a real thing that people struggle with. It's just dangerous having this story here that feeds into that. Because while some people can pick up this book and be like, I'm reading this for entertainment, and be like, you know what, this is fiction. It is not realistic to have someone come into your life and understand all your traumas and triggers immediately upon looking at you. And you know what? I want to live in this world a little bit, you know, where somebody fine and, you know, we can just like live and vibe and everything will be okay. Like, I want to live in that little world. Other people, however, might just yearn more for the unlikely. Not only the unlikely, but the unrealistic. No one's gonna just come into your life and fix everything. You have to have some sort of agency because you're a person. To clarify, look, it's completely fine and realistic to feel like, dang, I want a companion, someone to lean on in hard times. Life is hard. I don't want to do this alone. That is natural. People spend their whole lives trying to find romantic love. But the depiction of it in this book signaled to me something that is dangerous. In my opinion, Ali Hazelwood created a book that blurred the lines between support, dependency, and delusion. No matter what age you are, it's easy to get tied up into feeling like someone's love or someone's sex can fix you, fix life in general. I also know it's not complete on Ali Hazelwood. You know, deadlines, too many themes in one book that didn't get wrapped up nicely, which I would think that the editors would be like, hey, but I don't really know. I'm not an author. Although that is the goal. From sex to relationship dynamics to trauma to friendship to Scarlett's relationship with her stepmom, you know, finally calling her mom after all these years. Too many things went under the radar, and because the relationship with Lucas was the focus, the book just screamed danger. That is really what I took from this book. I think that's what really made me uncomfortable. You should not be putting this much on another person who is just another person trying to do his best. And he should not be making promises to you like that too. But yeah, so that's kind of my main really thoughts. Deep End, it could have been better. But when I was reading it, I kind of wanted to throw myself into the deep end and just like drown, you know? I wouldn't say I would recommend this book. Like, I wouldn't say, oh my gosh, you should read it because I really like it. I would say, yeah, you could check it out, see if you do like it. I mean, it does have some scenes in it. If you're into smut, like, this could be your thing. If you're into exhibitionisty stuff, risky stuff, which I couldn't get my mind off of, like, y'all are doing stuff in the library. Y'all doing stuff in the lab of the people that you're working under. Like, if somebody walked into that, you could probably lose your job. I don't know. I was like, why are y'all do what you don't do what you want. I'm so sorry. I can't endorse that kind of behavior. Thank you for listening to my probably very chaotic thoughts and ideas about this book that I wish I never read and that I read months ago but hadn't made a video about it. But the last book I read I really did like, and I'm not really sure if I'm gonna talk about it, but you know what? I might end up talking about it. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. I really did have a hard time like not jumping from one thing to the next thing because that's just how my brain works. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, please, and see you next time. Bye bye.